Fortnite has had some really awesome collabs over the years, but I feel like one that should still happen is one for Arcane. Not only for the map, but for the all-around energy of what an Arcane season or chapter could look like for Fortnite. There are 3 specific seasons that I think would kind of match the energy. The first one would be Chapter 3, Season 2, which was the War season. I think it was labeled Resistance, and just that all-around kind of war vibe where it's like one side versus another. There's also one side that's more technologically advanced than the other. The next one would be Chapter 4 of Season 2, which had a very cyberpunk and futuristic vibe. The last one would be Chapter 5, Season 3, The Wasteland. And as far as where Arcane would play into the map, I think having Zaun and Piltover in the dead center of the map would be best. And I think that they should honestly take up a very large portion of the map, or more than what we are used to seeing cities take over. And I also think that we could take a lot of inspiration here from the Chapter 4 season, where there was the cyberpunk city. And then we could also take inspiration from Chapter 6, where we saw other cities that were literally below cliffs and how they were able to build the map around that. As far as other cool mechanics based around the map in deep detail, I will be covering those in later videos, but I think also with the Snow Mountains, that would be a cool place to add a nod at Jace being saved by the wizard. Whenever we see that in the beginning of Arcane, having those mountains be based off of that blizzard that he was in, and maybe you can see some of the arcane symbols around, like the runes around, and maybe there's even parts of the mountain that whenever you go too far into it, you could end up having like blizzard damage done to you, like what we've seen with the blizzard grenades in Winterfest. At the end of Arcane Season 2, we see that there's a big like anti-gravity moment in the final battle. There's just a lot of anti-gravity themes all throughout, not just the second season, but the first season too, whenever we see Jace and Victor floating in the laboratory. I think that the anti-gravity and floating aspect would add a lot to an Arcane season, but also bring back the loot island and having it float in theme and in tandem with the storyline of what's happening throughout the Fortnite season as it parallels what happens in the Arcane Season 2. Maybe even we could have a boss spawn on Loot Island wherever it's floating around the map, sort of like what we saw throughout Chapter 6. And that actually brings me into what I'll be covering in the next video, because in my next video about the Arcane Fortnite season, I'm going to cover the bosses that I've thought of and what mythics they'll have, and also how they'll play into both the Fortnite season and Arcane Season 1 and 2.